Hey guys, this is Laura from the Sketching Pad. I'm going to show you how to do an easy scale technique on pottery. This technique will work with either your acrylic pottery kit or your glaze pottery kit. It doesn't matter which one you have. The technique is basically the same. I'm going to tell you what you're going to need. I am going to demo with the acrylic set, but if you have the glaze set, just do the same thing I'm telling you to do. Just know that the glaze is going to be a little bit more pastel when you start to use it. So it's a little harder to see what the effects look like until it's fired. So just keep that in mind. But trust the technique. It's going to turn out great in the end. What you're going to need is your flat brush and your round brush that came in your kit. You're going to need, I'm going to be using primarily the bright colors. If you want to, you can use the more neutral set depending on what kit you got from us. You are going to want a cup of water to rinse your brushes, and you will also want a rag or a paper towel or napkin of some description. If you have your acrylic set, keep in mind it is permanent, so whatever rag you get is going to be ruined. Keep that in mind for your clothes too. If you're a messy painter like I am, then you probably want to have like a smock or a old t-shirt or something like that thrown over your nice clothes. And you're going to want to have a paper plate or a styrofoam plate, something like that, to mix your colors on. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to demo on our little monster. He's super cute. We're just going to give him a little scaly texture. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to base coat him in the main color that we want him to be. So whether you want him to be purple, blue, green, orange, yellow, it doesn't really matter. We're going to base coat him in that color. This is the same with the glaze, but I'm going to make one note on glazes. You're going to want to do 3 coats of whatever color you want the base to be. So if you want him blue, you want to just base coat him with blue 3 times. Just let it dry in between each layer. So that's apply the blue, let it dry, apply the blue again, let it dry again, apply the blue again, and let that dry. And then we'll do our texture afterwards. With acrylic, you are really only going to need 1 coat in most cases, unless you pick like a really thin color to do it in. But in general, it only takes 1 coat to do the base color. So what you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to lighten whatever color it is that you want. So say if it's, I'm going to do mine blue. So I'm going to take a scoop of blue and I'm going to take a scoop of white and mix those together on my plate. Make sure that you mix enough to cover the whole pottery item. Now, the cool thing, if you want it to be a little bit more teal, you can mix a little bit of green into it. That's just a note for if you are doing, if you're doing the blue like I am. So this goes for your glaze too. You want to mix a little bit of white. I'm starting with like a half and half mixture, and you can add a little more or a little less. I'm just going to add a teeny tiny bit of green to this color. So it doesn't add much, just a little. It's like a neutral teal, kind of an emerald maybe. Not emerald, but like kind of a foresty teal. a dusty teal. That would be a better way to describe it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just base coat my monster in this color. With acrylic, you can basically cover the whole thing in this, including the mouth and everything if you wanted to. With glazing, you don't want to do that. With glazing, you want to use you want to not cover things you want to be different colors. So say if you want the antenna to be something other than the base color, don't paint it the base color. Glaze doesn't cover as nicely as acrylic. Acrylic, you can basically cover anything. And with glaze, you can cover some things. It's just a little bit trickier. So I usually recommend that you try your best to avoid those areas. And you want to make sure that you have mixed enough of whatever your base color is to cover your whole pottery item. That just makes it easier. Sometimes it's a little tricky to match a color a second time. It can be done, but if it can be avoided, that's always preferable. We like things to be easy around here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and finish painting the base color, and then I will come back to you. You may want to blow dry this at this point. Well, when you're done, you may want to blow dry it. You can let it air dry, though. It really dries really fast. Acrylic does, and glaze does as well. Okay, so he has been base coated and blow dried. Notice I did not, I wasn't super nice around my edges. This is acrylic. Acrylic will cover anything. So what we're going to do next is we're going to mix our highlight and shadow color. That is the key to making these scales really stand out. So to make the shadow, you're going to take a scoop of whatever the color is that you mixed this base color with. So mine was primarily with blue. It had just a touch of green in it, but this is just adding the blue will be just fine. So you're going to mix it in the corner of your base color. You want to save some of this base color if you can, just in case you want to cover something or blend something. And it just gives you a good look at the difference between the two colors if you have it there. And then you're going to rinse your brush out and you'll add some white to the other side. So you're going to take a scoop of your base color and add some white. I'll show you the difference. Add just a tiny bit more white. All right, so that's looking pretty good to me. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our round brush and we're going to kind of sketch in where we want our scales to go. And they are kind of shaped like smiley faces, and they're staggered a little. They do not have to be perfect. The key to making these scales not be perfect is to not have all the scales connected to each other. So you're going to have like smiley faces that are not like fully connected. So I'll just show you what that means. So you're going to start with your shadow color, and you want these scales to be face down. So when you turn, it will be the same all the way around. So you're going to just take and do half circles slash smiley faces. And see, none of those scales really touch each other. You can make these smaller if you want. I like to make them a little bigger in the middle of the monster, and then they get just a little smaller as they go up towards the head. But you can do them the same size. So I'm kind of stacking them, kind of like how bricks are stacked. They're like, you know, one in the middle and then two off to the side, another in the middle, kind of like that. That's the general pattern I'm following, but I'm not really following it too closely. So you can kind of see how that's looking. So I'm going to turn it to the side. So you guys are kind of getting the idea. You'll go in and you're going to place your shadows. These little smiley face shapes all over first. And then we're going to do the highlight. I'm going to do a few on his face that are like kind of small, but I'm not going to cover his entire face in them. I want them to be getting a little bit more sparse on his face. All right, so now that I've got a good base of those, I'm going to show you how to put the highlights, and then I'm going to finish him up and show you what he looks like. So the highlights basically go like that. You're going to kind of follow that half circle shape. So it just gives a little bit of dimension to your scale. And you don't have to do it on every single one. You can do them on as many or as few as you want. And it doesn't have to be like right on the edge. It can kind of be towards the middle if you feel like there's a bigger space that needs to be fixed. So I'm doing a few smaller highlights on the face because I don't want those to be the focus. I want his cute little mouth and eyes to be the focus. All right, I'm going to finish this up and then I will show you guys the end result. All right, guys, let me give you a little turnaround. His little scales look so cute. His little face. I'm going to give you guys a tip on faces if you're doing creatures or animals that just make them look really cute and fun. So if you just take a little white and do a highlight on it, maybe a little tiny bit bigger than that, depending on the size of the eye. You can also use the back of your paintbrush if you would rather not use the brush. The back has a nice round circle. So just adding those little highlights, and you could even do like a little highlight on the tongue just to make them really cute, really friendly looking. Great job, guys. We would love, love, love to hear from you. So if you want to ask us a question, maybe something we didn't cover in the tutorial, please feel free to reach out to us on Facebook. We'd be happy to follow up with a video or walk you through it verbally if we need to. Just whatever you need to make your masterpiece, we're here for you. We'd love to help. Or if you just want to show us what you did, please send us a private message, or you can post on Facebook and tag us. We would love to encourage you and to keep in contact with you. So thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you soon.